Hi there, I'm Ginny of the YouTube channel Finicky Reader. I've got 2 books and a set of comics to talk about today. The 2 books count towards the Diversithon goal, but the comics not so much. My first book is Trans a Memoir by Juliette Jacques. Juliette was sort of famous because she wrote a blog for the Guardian newspaper while she was in transition. I did find the story of her transition quite interesting, and her media relations, becoming a public trans figure, and her struggles with mental health was something you don't always hear about in this kind of book. On the other hand, her music and her love of football went completely over my head. Gender dysphoria I get, sports not so much. But it is a really interesting book, and I would recommend it. After I was finished with that, I had uni work, so I decided I'd read some comic books to give me something to talk about. I finished the Thor comics from 2014-2015 that take place after Thor Odin's son becomes unworthy. Basically, a woman has taken Mjolnir from where it was stuck on the moon, and in doing so has gained Thor's powers. This new Thor has to fight against an elf ruler from another world, and the boss of Roxxon, sort of a mega conglomerate writ evil, that have joined forces to take what they want with force and fraud. This felt quite feminist for a comic, but if you've watched The Killing Joke, you'll know that isn't hard. Marvel has a tendency to conceive of strength and courage in a very stereotypically male way. Their female protagonists often become strong by acting like a man and taking on his traditional role. And here she does it literally. Saying that, it is a superhero comic, and you've got to applaud the effort. Might have meant more if they'd hired a female writer though. Honestly, that wasn't my biggest problem with the underlying message. When I got to the end, I was left with a lot of questions and thought about what makes someone worthy. To tell you too much about them would give the ending away, so I'll just ask you one question. Is it more noble to live for a cause or to die for one? My last book didn't get me thinking quite so deeply. It was Yes, My Accent is Real by Kunal Nair. It's a funny book. I laughed out loud quite a few times, and it did make me more aware of the damage that reverse racism can have. Reverse racism is a racism against white people, and as a white person who's generally quite privileged, I don't get as het up about it as I do about racism against other races. But as Canal shows, those little instances that separate us still cause damage. And from what I've seen, the people hurt most by bigotry are always the downtrodden, and that includes the so-called white trash. Something to keep in mind while reading diversely. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you have fun reading. Talk to you later.